You walked away, but they didn't come chasing. You gave silence, but they didn't break. And now you're wondering, my friends, did it all fail? Did they stop caring? Or worse, did you lose them forever? That question has been eating at you. You tried to do everything right. You pulled back, you followed the advice, you gave them distance. Yet here you are, staring at the ceiling at night, asking yourself why they seem so unaffected, why they look fine while you're the one battling with doubt. Folks, let me give you a brutal truth. Silence is not fireworks. It's not instant. Silence is a slow poison. It doesn't destroy in one shot. It creeps in, drop by drop, until it changes everything inside them. I know what your mind is screaming. But if silence is so powerful, why don't I see results? Why are they laughing on social media? Why do they look so free? And here's where people get trapped. They believe the surface, the mask, the performance. People will always try to act stronger than they really are. They put on a smile, they pretend to be happy, they post photos with someone else. But listen to me carefully. Appearances lie, psychology doesn't. You cannot measure their truth by their Instagram feed. The real war is happening behind closed doors, in the quiet moments when their mind is racing. That's where silence digs the deepest. Think of silence like a seed planted in soil. When you first bury it, nothing seems to happen. You water it, you wait, you look day after day, and still the dirt looks the same. But under the surface, roots are forming, changes are taking place you cannot see. And then one day, out of nowhere, the plant breaks through. That's how your silence works. Just because you don't see it today doesn't mean it isn't working. My friends, never mistake delay for defeat. The truth is, when you walked away, they felt a strange kind of freedom at first. They thought, finally, I don't have to deal with this. They might even laugh. They might even feel lighter. But freedom is not always what it seems, because soon that freedom becomes emptiness. The absence of your voice, your energy, your presence begins to echo in their life. That echo gets louder with time, not quieter. Silence is not weakness. It's a mirror. And in that mirror, they are forced to face what life looks like without you. And trust me, folks, that picture isn't as pretty as they pretend it is. I want you to stay calm in this process. Stoicism teaches us that the strongest power is not in chasing, not in begging, but in mastering yourself. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. You've already taken the first step by walking away. Now your battle is patience. Patience is the fire that hardens steel. Patience is the storm that tests a tree's roots. Do not break just because you don't see immediate proof. Every day you hold your silence, you grow stronger, and they grow weaker. Every day you resist checking their profile, you add weight to the silence pressing on them. Remember, my friends, you are not losing them, you are making them lose themselves. The longer you hold your silence, the more cracks appear in their mask. The smiles become forced, the distractions wear off, the nights grow colder, and one day they'll realize they had something rare and they let it go, and that realization hits harder than anything you could ever say. So do not fear, do not doubt. Silence is not failure. Silence is working in shadows, in ways you cannot see. Stay patient. Stay strong, and when the time comes, you will see the results you've been waiting for. They will come back, they will regret, they will chase, but only if you hold the line. Write this in the comments right now. I hold the power. Because you do. And if you believe it, it will carry you through. Press the like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because this is just the beginning. Your silence is your weapon. Your patience is your victory. Remember, I hold the power. And here's where I want you to step into your strength, folks. Don't just listen to these words. Claim them. Put your stamp on this moment. Go into the comments right now and write, I hold the power. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Because when you type it, you're not just leaving a comment, you're anchoring it into your mind. You're telling yourself and the world that you refuse to be weak, you refuse to chase, and you refuse to hand your worth to anyone who couldn't see it. This is more than motivation, it's training. Every time you declare it, you're rewiring your brain to stand firm, to stay silent, to be unshakable. And trust me, that strength will outlast their games, their masks, and even their rebounds. So I'm asking you, my friends, don't be a silent listener. Take action, claim your ground, type it now, I hold the power. And if these words hit you, if they stirred something real inside you, then press that like button and subscribe, because we are only getting started, and I want you with me when the tables turn. Stay here. Stay strong, stay patient. Your silence is your weapon, your growth is your proof, and your patience, that will be your victory. Say it with me one last time and write it down. I hold the power. Number 1. Why silence feels like it's failing. You're sitting there, my friends, wondering why it feels like nothing is happening. You walked away, you cut the noise, you gave them silence, but instead of crawling back, they're out there acting like life is perfect. And deep inside, you start to whisper to yourself, maybe this isn't working, maybe they don't care, maybe I lost them forever. That voice gets louder the longer you wait, and it feels like the silence is failing. But let's strip away the illusions. Silence does not create fireworks overnight. It doesn't explode like a firecracker. It works like time, like water carving stone, like a storm wearing down a mountain. It's slow, invisible at first, but unstoppable once it begins. At the start, your absence doesn't crush them. It feels like freedom. Think of it like a bird that finally escapes its cage. They flap their wings wildly, feeling the rush of air, laughing at the space they've gained. They might even post pictures smiling, go out with friends, or show off like they've upgraded their life. And from your side, it feels like a punch to the gut. You wonder, was I really so easy to replace? Do they even miss me at all? This is where the mind starts to play cruel tricks, because it makes you believe what you see on the surface instead of what's happening underneath. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Right now, what you see is their conscious performance, the smiles, the posts, the pretending. But the unconscious is a different battlefield, one you can't see. Silence doesn't attack their conscious ego directly because the ego is too proud, too stubborn, too loud. It works deeper, in the shadows of the mind, in the quiet moments when they're alone. And here's the truth. Every act of silence you commit is like slipping a stone into their pocket. At first it doesn't weigh much. They carry it easily. But day after day those stones pile up, and eventually it becomes too heavy to ignore. And here's why it feels difficult for you. Because you expect instant proof. You want to see their regret with your own eyes. You want a text message, a phone call, some sign that they're breaking. But Stoicism teaches us that control is not about forcing outcomes. It's about holding the line regardless of what the outcome looks like in the moment. The hardest part of silence is not giving it. It's maintaining it when it feels like nothing is working. That is where most people fail. They get impatient. They send that one message. They check their social media too often. They break the very power they've been building. And the cruel twist, they quit right before silence begins to truly dig its claws in. Think of it like a fever breaking. In the early hours, the body looks calm. You think the medicine didn't work. But then, out of nowhere, the heat spikes, the sweat pours, and healing begins. Silence works the same way. It brews under the surface, invisible, until the day it erupts inside their chest. That's why your patience is the most powerful weapon you have. Jung would say that the things we avoid looking at are the very things that haunt us. They're avoiding looking at the hole you left, but the hole is still there, widening with every day of your silence. And yes, they might be laughing now, they might even act unaffected, but ask yourself this: why do they try so hard to show the world they're happy? If someone truly didn't care, they wouldn't need to prove it. The louder the mask, the deeper the cracks. Remember this, my friends, silence is not failing, it's forcing them to face themselves, and that is the hardest thing for a human being to do. You might also ask, but what if they never come back? What if they truly forget me? That's fear talking, not truth. People don't just erase deep emotional bonds like flipping a switch. They might suppress, they might distract, but the unconscious always remembers. Like an old song that suddenly plays and pulls you back in time, your presence will resurface in their mind, uninvited, uncontrollable. And the silence you hold is the string that ties that memory tighter and tighter. Think of your silence as the tide. At first, the shore looks unchanged, but slowly, surely, the water pulls back, leaving them stranded in a space they thought they wanted. And then the tide returns with force, sweeping over everything, leaving them gasping for air. That's the moment silence delivers its blow, but only if you hold steady, only if you stay the course. So let me tell you this straight. Do not give up. Do not measure your power by what you see today. Your silence is working, even when it looks like failure. The cracks are already forming in places you can't see. The mask they wear is not their truth, it's their defense, and the longer you stay calm, stoic, and patient, the more that mask crumbles. Write this in the comments right now. My silence is power. Do it, because when you write it, you're not just leaving words, you're declaring war on your own doubt. You're choosing discipline over weakness. You're proving to yourself that you can hold the line even when your emotions beg you to break. My silence is power. Say it, type it, claim it. And remember, folks, you're not failing. You're forging. You're not losing. You're leading. Stay with me. Press that like button, subscribe, and never forget. Your silence is power. Your patience is victory. And your strength will outlast their ego every single time. Number 2. The mistake you might be making. Here's the gut punch, my friends. Silence only works if you truly detach. And this is where most people stumble. They say they're walking away, but in reality, they're still tethered by invisible strings. They're scrolling through their ex's social media, checking who liked their posts, waiting by the phone for a message, dropping little hints online in hopes of being noticed. That is not silence, that's just noise in disguise, and deep down, you know it. If you're still carrying their presence in your mind every hour, if you're still trying to pull their attention in subtle ways, then you haven't really walked away, you're just pretending. And pretending is not power, it's desperation in a mask. The truth is, energy doesn't lie. People can sense when they still have control over you. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That means if you keep feeding the attachment secretly, it leaks out in ways you don't even realize. Maybe it's a rushed like on their old photo. Maybe it's a vague post aimed at them. Maybe it's just the restless energy you carry when you bump into mutual friends. They feel it. They know you haven't detached, and that strips away the power of your silence. Real silence isn't about absence of words. It's about absence of pursuit. It's when you no longer orbit around them, not even in the shadows. Think of it like quitting an addiction. A smoker who hides cigarettes in the drawer hasn't quit. A gambler who keeps one foot in the casino hasn't stopped gambling. In the same way, if you're still secretly waiting for them, you haven't broken free. You've only paused the chase, and pauses don't transform the mind. The mistake most people make is thinking silence is a performance. They think, If I just don't text, they'll miss me. But their mind is still consumed by longing, by obsession, by the hope that the silence will work. That's not detachment, that's manipulation. And people can smell manipulation a mile away. Now, I know what you might be asking yourself, but how do I stop caring overnight? How do I detach when my heart is still invested? The answer is slowly, steadily, with discipline. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control others, only ourselves. Your silence is wasted if it's only for them. It has to be for you. If you're doing this to bait them back, you will break. But if you're doing this to regain your strength, to train your will, then you will rise. The detachment has to be real. When you stop peeking at their life, when you stop waiting for crumbs, when you stop tying your mood to whether or not they notice you, then your silence turns from weak strategy into absolute power. And yes, it's difficult. Of course it is. That's why most people fail. But difficulty is the exact reason it transforms you. The iron is forged in fire, not comfort. Jung also said, "Where you stumble, there lies your treasure." The place where it feels impossible to let go is exactly where your breakthrough hides. Every time you resist the urge to check their page, every time you hold back from sending that "just checking in" message, you're building unshakable strength. You're proving to yourself that you can master your own impulses. And that, my friends, is far more attractive than any text you could ever send. So let me be clear. If you want silence to work, you must cut the hidden strings. No chasing, no crumbs, no half measures. Full detachment. Only then does your absence become undeniable. Only then does the weight of your silence start pressing on them. Otherwise, you're just acting, and acting never holds power. Now, I want you to claim it. Go into the comments right now and type, "I detach fully." Do it, because when you write it, you're not just leaving words on a screen. You're setting fire to the old version of yourself. You're declaring to your own mind that you won't cling, you won't chase, you won't break. Say it, believe it, live it. I detach fully. Press the like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because this journey isn't about games. It's about transformation, and once you master detachment, silence will no longer feel like waiting. It will feel like freedom. Number 3. Why they're pretending not to care. When you look at them now, my friends, you might see someone who looks perfectly fine. They're laughing in pictures, they're out with friends, maybe even showing off with someone new. And from your side of the glass, it stings. You start asking yourself, if silence is so powerful, then why do they look so unaffected? Why aren't they crumbling without me? Let's break this illusion right now. What you are seeing is a mask, a carefully constructed performance. They're not showing you the truth, they're hiding it. And that mask is one of the most common human defenses when faced with rejection, loss, or silence. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." That's exactly what you're witnessing. They put on this act of indifference because admitting they still care, admitting they still feel the sting of your absence, would force them to face their own vulnerability. They don't want you to know you still have that power, so instead they wear the costume of someone unbothered, someone free, someone who has already moved on. But it's just a show. A mask doesn't heal the wound, it only hides it from the crowd. Think about it this way. A soldier who is bleeding out on the battlefield doesn't always scream. Sometimes he bites down, clenches his jaw, and pretends he's fine, because admitting pain feels like weakness. That doesn't mean he isn't bleeding. That doesn't mean the wound isn't real. It just means he refuses to let others see it. Your silence is the wound they're hiding. They can't show it publicly, because that would mean admitting they miss you, admitting they feel the emptiness. And for someone with pride, with ego, that is harder than anything else. And here's the twist, folks. The stronger the mask, the deeper the crack underneath. The louder they laugh, the more desperate they are to convince themselves they don't care. Have you ever noticed how people overcompensate when they're hiding something? The person who constantly posts about being so happy is usually the one struggling the most. The one who brags about their new life is usually the one trying hardest to drown out the silence echoing in the back of their mind. If they truly didn't care, they wouldn't need to prove it. True indifference is quiet, not loud. This is why your silence works in ways you can't see. It forces them into this mask game where every day they have to act, perform, and maintain the image of someone who is fine. But behind that mask, the questions are growing. Why aren't they chasing me? Why haven't they broken yet? Did I lose them for good? Those questions don't disappear. They multiply. And in their quietest hours, when the mask slips off, that's when your absence hits the hardest. That's when they replay memories. That's when they wonder if you've already moved on. Now, I know this is hard to accept, because you crave visible proof. You want to see the cracks. You want to hear the confession. But Stoicism teaches us to trust what we know, not what we wish to see. The mask is not truth. It's defense. And defense always means there's something worth protecting underneath. In this case, it's their pride, their ego, their refusal to admit that your silence unsettles them more than they'd ever confess. So do not be fooled by their performance. Do not let their mask trick you into breaking yours. Their show of indifference is not proof that they don't care. It's proof that they care enough to hide it. Your silence has already forced them into a role they didn't want to play, and the longer you hold steady, the heavier that mask becomes. Eventually, it slips. Eventually, the truth leaks out, and when it does, it hits them harder than you can imagine. Claim this truth with me right now. Go into the comments and write, "Their mask will break," because it will. And by writing it, you're reminding yourself not to fall for the act, not to be fooled by the illusion. You're teaching your own mind to see beyond appearances and to trust the deeper psychology at play. Say it, type it, believe it. Their mask will break. Number 4. The magical twist that breaks them. Here's where we flip the entire story, my friends, because silence on its own, it's powerful, yes, but it's not the whole picture. Silence is the soil. It creates the emptiness, the hunger, the echo. But if you really want to break them, if you want to leave a mark they cannot erase even if they're wrapped up in someone else's arms, you need the magical twist. And that twist is this: silence only becomes unforgettable when you combine it with growth. When they look back at you and see not just the person they left, but a completely transformed version of you, that's when the panic sets in. That's when the regret becomes unbearable. Think about it like this. Imagine someone quits a job because they think they can find better. At first, they feel free, relieved, maybe even proud of their decision. But what happens when they check back months later and discover that the company they left has doubled in size, is winning awards, and is now the most sought-after place to work? Suddenly, their freedom turns into regret. They realize they didn't just walk away from something good, they walked away from something extraordinary. That's exactly how it works when your silence is paired with undeniable growth. Carl Jung spoke often about individuation, the process of becoming your true whole self. This is the key. Silence without growth is just waiting, but silence with growth, that's transformation. And transformation is the one thing they cannot compete with, because it makes you irreplaceable. when they see you healthier, stronger, calmer, glowing in ways you never did when you were with them, their mind starts to spiral. Did I underestimate them? Did I leave at the worst possible time? Are they now becoming everything I once wanted, but with someone else? Those questions haunt them, and they don't go away. The magical twist is not about proving anything directly. It's not about showing off or rubbing success in their face. It's quieter than that, subtler than that, like a candle that lights up a dark room without making a sound. When your life shifts, when your energy shifts, people feel it. Mutual friends mention your name in conversations with admiration. They hear about you doing things they never expected. Maybe they notice you carry yourself differently when they bump into you, calm and steady, as if the weight they once had on you no longer exists. That invisible shift cuts deeper than any angry words ever could. And here's the part that really breaks them. Growth makes comparison impossible to ignore. If they're with someone new, that person now lives in your shadow. Every time they laugh, they wonder if it feels the same as laughing with you. Every time they share a moment, a small voice whispers, "But look how far my ex has come." And slowly, the illusion of replacement collapses. Because you can copy looks, you can copy habits, but you cannot copy transformation. They will feel it. They will see it. They will know they let go of someone who only became more rare after the goodbye. Now let me be brutally honest. It's not easy. Growth demands effort. It demands discipline. It demands you redirect all the energy you once poured into them back into yourself. But that's what makes it magical, because most people don't do it. Most people waste silence by waiting, by stalking, by hoping. But if you use silence as fuel, if you become stronger, sharper, calmer, then you don't just disappear, you evolve. And when they finally come looking, they don't find the same person they left. They find someone untouchable, someone unforgettable. So, remember this: silence starves them, but growth starves their ego. Silence leaves them empty, but growth makes them terrified they lost something once in a lifetime. That combination is the invisible string that keeps pulling them back to you, no matter who they try to distract themselves with. Write this in the comments right now. I grow in silence. Do it, because when you declare it, you're making a promise to yourself. You're not just waiting, you're building. You're not just silent, you're becoming. And when the time comes, that growth will speak louder than any words, louder than any pain, louder than any mask they try to wear. Press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because the magical twist is not waiting for them to return. It's becoming the reason they can't stay away. Number 5. How even new relationships crumble. Rebounds always look strong at first, my friends. From the outside, it seems like they've replaced you in a heartbeat. They're out with someone new, smiling, holding hands, posting pictures that make it look like you never mattered. And of course, that hits you in the chest like a hammer. You start asking, did I mean nothing? How could they move on so fast? Was I that easy to forget? But here's where you need to stop believing the illusion and start trusting psychology. Rebounds are not built on depth, they're built on distraction. They are a bandage, not a cure. They cover the wound, but they never heal it. At the start, yes, the rebound feels exciting for them. It's fresh, it's new, it's intoxicating in the way novelty always is. The attention from someone else fills the silence you left behind, at least for a while. They convince themselves this is better, this is easier, this is what they wanted all along. But novelty doesn't last. Honeymoons always fade. And when that glitter wears off, the comparisons begin. That's when the cracks appear, and those cracks widen fast. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." And that truth applies here perfectly. They resist thinking about you by running into someone else's arms. They resist facing the emptiness your silence created by filling the space with noise. But the more they resist, the stronger the memory of you grows in their unconscious. They can push it down, but it doesn't disappear. It waits. And then, at the quietest times, when they're lying in bed next to this new person, when a song plays, when a familiar laugh slips out, the memory of you rises, uninvited and undeniable. That's when the haunting begins. Your silence, combined with your growth, turns into a shadow that follows them. They can't escape it, because it's not something you're forcing, it's something their mind creates. And here's the brutal truth. Their new partner can't compete with that shadow, because what you've become is mystery. You're not chasing, you're not begging, you're not even present, and that absence makes you larger in their imagination. They start to wonder, have they moved on? Are they happier now? Did I lose them for good? That curiosity burns hotter than any comfort the rebound can provide. And the comparisons, oh, they never stop. Every laugh, every kiss, every shared joke with this new person is silently measured against the way it was with you. They may not admit it, but the mind keeps score. It notices when something feels forced. It notices when the spark isn't the same. And the cruel irony is this. The rebound was supposed to erase you, but instead it becomes the mirror that reflects you back to them. Because when someone new can't measure up, it doesn't make them love the new more. It makes them miss the old with a pain they can't escape. This is why you must hold steady. Your silence is not just about them missing your presence. It's about creating a contrast. While they're chasing temporary highs, you're building something real. While they're stuck in a cycle of distraction, you're growing stronger, calmer, and more magnetic. That difference is what makes the rebound crumble, because eventually they will realize that what they have now doesn't touch what they once had with you, especially now that you're even stronger than before. So don't fear their new relationship. Don't fear the smiles and the posts. They are masks, just like the one they wore when they pretended not to care. New love built on running away from old wounds will always collapse under its own weight. It's only a matter of time before they see the cracks, before the comparisons consume them, before the silence and the growth you've embodied become impossible to ignore. Go to the comments right now and type, "Rebounds always crumble." Write it because you need to remind yourself of this truth. Don't let the illusion fool you. Don't let temporary distraction make you doubt your power. Rebounds always crumble. Say it, believe it, hold it close. Press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me. Because when the masks drop and the distractions fade, your silence will be the loudest voice in their head, and it will be impossible for them to forget. Number 6. The psychology of did I lose them forever? In the beginning, my friends, it's always you asking that painful question, did I lose them forever? You lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if your silence pushed them away for good. You ask yourself if they've forgotten you, if they've replaced you, if you've slipped out of their heart without a trace. But here's the shift you need to see. Over time, that very question stops belonging to you. It begins to haunt them. Their own mind, their own psychology flips the script. They start asking, did I lose them? Did I make the biggest mistake of my life? At first they resist. They tell themselves they're fine, that walking away was the right choice, that life is better without you. But psychology has a way of wearing down pride. The human brain is wired to question, to revisit, to compare. It's never satisfied with what it already has. It constantly asks, what if? And that what if is where you live in their mind. What if they moved on? What if someone else is holding them right now? What if I never get another chance? Those questions are not gentle whispers. They are sharp knives that dig deeper every time silence stretches. Carl Jung once said, "Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses." When they condemned you, when they dismissed your worth, it didn't free them. It created a chain around their own mind. At first, the chain is light, almost unnoticeable. But every day your silence holds, every day your growth becomes more visible, that chain gets tighter. It becomes regret. And regret is one of the heaviest weights a human being can carry. Think about it like missing a train. At the station, they wave it off, thinking another will come. They feel casual, even careless, like they had all the time in the world. But when the train pulls away and they realize it was the only one going where they needed to be, panic sets in. They run after it, but it's already moving too fast. They stand on the platform, heart pounding, with only one thought in their head: I just lost my chance. That's the same panic your silence creates. At first, they don't notice the train leaving, but by the time they realize, you're already further down the tracks, stronger, calmer, harder to reach. And this is where obsession grows. Regret is not passive. It eats away at a person's peace. It plays the same memory over and over. It forces comparisons. It magnifies the good. It erases the bad. What was once taken for granted suddenly becomes priceless. They don't just miss you. They obsess over the thought that someone else might now see the value they were blind to. And obsession is a storm you cannot silence with distractions. It follows them everywhere, even when they try to bury it. This is why you must stay patient. Their doubt is your ally. The more they ask themselves, "Did I lose them forever?" the more they feed the fire of regret. And the longer they carry that regret, the heavier it becomes until it breaks through the mask completely. That's when you hear from them. That's when they circle back. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because their own mind dragged them there. So let me ask you, are you ready to let the doubt shift? Are you ready to stop asking if you lost them and start trusting that they're already asking themselves that very question? Because they are, and it will only grow louder. Go to the comments right now and write, "They will regret," because they will. And when you write it, you're not just saying it. You're planting that truth into your own mind, so you stop doubting and start trusting. Say it with strength, type it with conviction. They will regret. Press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because the moment their doubt turns into obsession, your silence will no longer feel like waiting. It will feel like victory. Number 7. The unstoppable comeback energy. Here's where the story turns, my friends. Because silence isn't just about what you don't say, it's about what you become in the meantime. The longer you stay quiet, the longer you focus on your growth instead of chasing, something powerful begins to shift in you. It's subtle at first, like the changing of seasons. You carry yourself differently. Your words are sharper, calmer. Your presence feels heavier, not with desperation but with control. That shift in energy is what they cannot ignore. They might not see you every day, they might not hear from you, but they can sense it. They feel it in the air, in the way mutual friends speak about you, in the way your name drifts back into their orbit without you lifting a finger. Energy doesn't need announcements. It radiates. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that's exactly what happens here. Unconsciously, they start feeling you again, not because you're pushing yourself into their life, but because you've changed your own. Your silence no longer feels like absence, it feels like presence. A stronger, upgraded version of you begins to exist in their mind, even before they see it with their own eyes. That's when the real fear begins. At first, they return out of curiosity. They wonder what you're up to, if you're still waiting, if you still care. But curiosity fades quickly if it isn't fed. What drives them back with unstoppable energy is not curiosity. It's fear. Fear that they'll never find someone like you again. Fear that the door they thought would always be open has finally closed. Fear that you've not only survived without them, but thrived. That kind of fear cuts deeper than jealousy, deeper than loneliness. It shakes their ego to its core. Think about it like a house they abandoned. When they walked away, they thought the walls would crumble, the windows would break, and eventually there'd be nothing left but dust. But when they come back to peek inside, they find the house has been renovated. The lights shine brighter, the walls are stronger, and the home is more beautiful than when they left. That's when their heart sinks. That's when they realize they didn't just walk away from a house. They walked away from a palace they will never deserve again. And this is why your silence combined with growth becomes unstoppable comeback energy. It's not about proving them wrong directly. It's about showing through your transformation that they were wrong to ever doubt you. Your energy begins to haunt them, not because you're forcing yourself into their space, but because they feel the contrast between who you were then and who you are now. That contrast is unbearable. Eventually, they will come back. Not with casual words, not with light-hearted curiosity, but with urgency, with fear. Because once they feel that you are slipping beyond their reach, once they realize you've stepped into a version of yourself that no longer needs them, they panic. And panic is the strongest motivator of all. But here's where you must remain stoic, my friends. When they come back, it will be tempting to drop everything, to let emotions lead. Do not. Remember, this comeback is not the product of their power. It's the result of yours. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are showing that you cannot be replaced. That's the energy that flips the entire dynamic. So stay patient, stay silent, keep building, because every day you hold steady, their curiosity turns into fear, and their fear turns into action. And that action, when it comes, will not be half-hearted. It will be desperate. They'll return not because they want to, but because they have to. Write this in the comments right now. They will fear losing me. Say it, type it, claim it, because that is the truth. Your silence and growth are creating an energy that cannot be denied, an energy that forces them back to you. Press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because this is the moment where your silence transforms into unstoppable comeback energy, and they will not be able to resist it. Number 8. Why they will circle back, even from someone else's arms. They might look happy now, my friends. They might be smiling in photos, posting late-night stories, or even wrapped in someone else's arms. And I know how heavy that image feels in your chest. You start asking yourself, maybe they've moved on for good, maybe they'll never come back. But here's where I want you to pause and remember, appearances lie, psychology doesn't. Human nature is predictable, and regret is inevitable. They don't circle back because you chase, they circle back because you stop. They circle back because silence does what words never could. It makes you unforgettable. Think about it this way. When someone thinks you'll always be around, they grow careless. They don't value your presence because they believe it's permanent. But the moment you disappear, the moment you stay silent, you transform into something they cannot control. That lack of control gnaws at them. Carl Jung said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." And that's exactly what happens with you. They try to resist thinking about you, but your silence magnifies their memories. They resist admitting regret, but the regret deepens anyway. They resist comparing you to the new person, but those comparisons never stop. In fact, the more they try to bury your memory, the louder it echoes in their mind. Here's the secret. They may hold someone else right now, but that doesn't erase you. The mind doesn't delete deep connections. It carries them quietly in the background until something, a scent, a song, a moment, pulls it all back. And when it does, it hits harder than ever before because now it's wrapped in the sting of regret. They can laugh with someone else, but when the laughter fades, they will wonder, why didn't it feel the same? They can kiss someone else, but when the silence settles, they'll hear the whisper, why does this feel emptier than before? That whisper will always lead back to you. Even if they try to convince themselves they've found better, your growth becomes the thorn in their side. They'll see you glowing, moving forward, carrying yourself with calm strength. They'll hear about you from friends, notice your energy if they cross paths, and deep down it will burn. Because you're no longer the version of yourself they left, you're something greater, untouchable, unforgettable. And once they realize they walked away from someone who only got stronger without them, they'll circle back. Not out of pity, not out of casual interest, but out of fear that they lost something they'll never replace. That's the real magic of silence, folks. It doesn't just create space, it creates contrast. While they distract themselves with temporary highs, your silence builds a permanent presence in their unconscious mind. You become the one they measure everyone else against, and when those comparisons fail, as they always do, the pull toward you becomes irresistible. It's not a question of if they'll come back, it's a question of when. So take this as your reassurance. They will circle back. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the laws of psychology don't bend. People always return to what they couldn't replace. They'll come back not because you begged for it, not because you fought for it, but because you did the opposite. You let go. You stopped. And in stopping, you became the ghost they cannot outrun. Go to the comments right now and write, I am unforgettable. Say it, type it, declare it, because you are. And the moment you believe it, the world will reflect it back. Press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because your silence has already set the stage. And when they circle back, as they always do, you'll see with your own eyes the power you held all along. And so, my friends, here's the truth. We've come full circle. Silence isn't weakness, it's power. Growth isn't revenge, it's transformation. And no matter how strong their mask looks, psychology never lies. They will feel it, they will regret it, and yes, they will circle back. Stay patient, stay grounded, and never doubt your worth. Now, if this message spoke to you, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs this reminder. And don't forget to drop your affirmation in the comments. Claim it, own it, and let the world know you are unforgettable.